Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to the March Web Developer Meeting. We're really excited to have JAWS user Peggy Hoover, who also works in the College of
Health and Human Development.
Thank you, Health and Human Development. And what are you doing?
I'm Administrative Support Assistant.
Okay, so she's familiar with a lot of Penn State systems, so that's very helpful. And just to let everyone know, in the room, we're asking people not to connect to VPN per the sign on the whiteboard because it's been going up and down, and when it goes down, that means we lose Adobe Connect. And also for people on Adobe Connect, we're having complicated audio issues because we're having both JAWS reading out and people in the room, and we can have either JAWS reading out or people in the room talking, but not both, so we'll be switching back and forth. There might be a little pause between the switches, but hopefully we'll get as much of the experience to you as we can, and also the websites that we'll be testing will be broadcast over Adobe Connect. So, and I also want to mention that after Peggy, we will have Michael Brooks from World Campus, who's done a lot of JAWS testing. He's been testing some new services and existing services, so he'll be able to talk about that. So Peggy, I'm going to turn it over to you if you want to do an introduction, and when you're ready to switch, we'll switch.
Okay. As Elizabeth said, my name is Peggy Hoover. I'm an Administrative Support Assistant in the College of Health and Human Development. I work in the Office of the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies and Outreach, primarily responsible to our Director of Outreach. And one of my work colleagues is here today, Wendy Mahan, who's our instructional developer. What I'm going to do is to, as Elizabeth mentioned, because of the nature of my job, I'm familiar with a lot of Penn State systems. It was kind of hard to pick just a couple to show you how it works with JAWS, which is the screen reading software that I use in order to make my way around, not only on the internet, of course, but in other applications as well. And so I decided to go with, first of all, the Penn State directory. It's a fairly easy one to use, and also it's one that I use quite a lot, not only just to look up people's names, but occasionally I get a phone call and somebody says, well, I need such and so a department in another college. And now for our college, I have the department phone numbers pretty much memorized, so I don't have to worry about looking them up. But if somebody needs a place in, say, liberal arts or some other place, it's like, okay, now I have to go online and look this up. So, and then after we take a look at the Penn State directory, which is a fairly easy site to navigate, and I'm going to use the schedule of courses site. It's a little more challenging. It works, but it's just a little more challenging. There's a lot more to it, and as we go along, I'll show you some of the ways that I navigate on the screen as I'm working with Internet Explorer, and then might take a look at a website that I've not seen before, because then I have to figure out ways of, okay, what's here and how do I get around that and what do I do with it and that sort of thing. So I'm going to start with the Penn State Online Directory.
Okay, and we're going to be doing the magic audio switch, so.
Leaving menu. Web developer task switcher list box. To move to an item, press the arrow keys. Web conferencing vertical bar Adobe Connect Alt menu bar favorites to navigate W web wind directory search D enter leaving menus directory search Windows Internet Explorer directory search last name edit tab full name edit type in text space HOOVER enter 100%. Page has 2 links. Directory search results. Table with 2 columns and 10 rows. Directory entry for Peggy Ray Hoover name Peggy Ray Hoover email send mail link pxh6@su.edu Mail ID PXH6@su.edu address 201 Anderson BLDG University Park telephone number +1 800 14 863 2212 fax number +1 814-865-3282 title STFASST VIE Administrative Area Health and Human Dev Department Health and Human Dev Table End. Visited link return enter 100%. Press enter for forms mode. Virtual PC cursor. Directory search. Links list dialog. D departments. Enter. Penn State Department search. Penn State Department directory heading level 1. Page has 5 tab. About list tab. How to search department name edit. Tab. Short listing radio. Shift tab. Department name H. Department name edit English. Enter. Directory search results 100%. Page has 10 links. Director blank table direct depart advising office English blank QR link 8 blank address 140 boroughs blank tele +1 814 863 0258 blank fax plus blank. Directory dialog up down slider 1.
What I just did there, you probably heard a lot of speaking. What I did first was went into the Penn State directory, and it comes right on the field that's for the last name, and I tabbed over to where it said full name, and JAWS in that point is in what is called forms mode, and it allows me to type in information. And in that case, I used my listing, typed in my name, hit enter, and then it brought up my listing, and I let it read the whole thing to you. Now, that's valuable if you really, sometimes, especially if you're not familiar with a page, it helps you to know what's there. But oftentimes I find that I just arrow down to the information I need, because maybe I need the telephone number, or maybe I need an email address or something like that, or an office address. It just depends. Then I decided to go to the department listing, and I used, in JAWS, there's a keystroke that you can use that will bring up what's called a links list. And if you happen to know the first letter of the link you're looking for, you're in great shape. You could just type, like I typed the D and it said departments. Oh, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And then once I entered on that, I needed to tab over to the form field where I could type in the name of the department, and I chose English just because, like I said, there are times I get phone calls for departments outside of my area, and when I have to look and figure out, okay, what number should I give these people and that sort of thing. There's also a way to quickly get to where a form field is, and you just type the letter F, and it takes you to the beginning of a form, and then you have to make sure that the forms mode is on before you can type in. Otherwise, it just throws you completely to the bottom or to the top of the page. So that's the Penn State directory. It's very simple to use. I'm next going to go to the schedule of courses, and what I'm going to do is actually look up a course, navigate through it, and this, as you'll realize, is a little more challenging than what I just showed you.
Okay, let me.
Web developer task switcher list box. To move to an item, press the arrow keys. Alt-A taskbar R. Alt-A. Title is taskbar. Alt-Tab. Directory search result. Alt-A. Menu. File. To move through items, press up or down arrow R. O. Organize. O. Office of the University Registrar. Enter. Leaving menus. Directory search results. Windows Internet Explorer. Office of the University Registrar. Page has 3 headings and 55 links. Office of. Links list dialog. S. Schedule of courses. Enter. 100%. Penn State University Office of the University Registrar Schedule of Course tab. Penn State Uni tab. Penn State tab. Left bracket more tab. Office of the Uni tab. Registrar at su.ed. Penn State heading visit heading list visit link when can link pad link list end. Semester. Combo box spring 2011, 2 of 3. Tab Campus Combo Box University Park left parent up right parent to change the select open list Wilkes dash Shenango left University Park tab Location Combo Box University Park Campus left parent up right parent to change tab Course Subject Combo Box All Course Open List Box HPA dash Health Policy and Administration tab Course Subject Combo Box HPA dash tab Penn State University Off Shift tab Help Link Help Virtual link campus map link help list N Penn State University dash office of the heading level 2 schedule of head list of the offer link list N the Pennsylvania Penn State heading list the offer link list N semester combo box campus tab location combo box university tab course subject tab course number combo box open list box 001-200 300 all courses 101 tab display open sections tab search courses button space 38% 100% page has 4 headings and 56 links Penn State list of visited link news heading level 2 schedule of core heading level 3 notes search criteria blank heading link graphic academic blank 644 blank HPA 1 table with 11 HPA 101 Introduction to Health Services Organization Credits: 3.0 blank Introduction to Black Exam link blank Schedule section Seats sets blank Schedule number section Seats refresh open seats open / max day / time classroom instructor begin / end dates notes section open days class begin notes section course location blank 55280 55280500010/20 MF 2:30 p.m.-3:20 p.m. W 2:30 p.m.-3:20 p.m. 112 Kern Graduate BLDG 113 Keller BLDG Siegage Mark 0 blank 55 blank 001 blank 0/20 blank MF 2:30 p blank W 2:30 p.m.-3:20 blank 112 Link Kern Graduate BL blank 113 Link Keller blank Link Siegage Mark blank 01/10/11-0 blank Link View blank Left Paranate blank Context menu open leaving menus Dialog up down slider.
Okay, yeah, Peggy, did you want to make any comments?
Yes, I just wanted to kind of briefly describe what I just did, because it might have, like, not being used to that voice, you're probably thinking, what in the world? Basically, I went into the schedule of courses and I used the links list, or I went into the Office of the University Registrar site. I used the links list to find the schedule of courses. Once I did that, I went to the area where it starts with semester, and I went to a heading. There's a keystroke that takes you to the next heading in the semester, and I decided to go with spring 11. That was what was there. And then I tabbed over to the next area, which is the campus. And as you know, that there are lists of campuses, lists of semesters, and I can do a keystroke that opens the list box so that then I can arrow up and down or use the first letter. Now, sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. Using the first letter just depends on how things are set up, but typically I can arrow up and down and find and look at the choices I have for a particular list, and then pick the one I want, and then tab to the next field. And there, did I want to look at all locations at University Park? And then it got a little cranky on me, and so I had to do some quick shifting around and figuring out, going back to where I was and kind of starting from the beginning and getting to the course name. And so I just picked one of the departments in our college, and then the course number. You can look, and I can look at the list and see what's there and see what my choices are. And then once I actually picked HPA 101, I went in and looked at the sections, and there is a way that you can read across tables and that kind of thing. Now, I let it read everything across, in the table or in the row for starters. And then when I got down to the actual section, I wanted to slow the process down, and that's a lot of information to take into your brain all at once. And so I wanted to slow it down, and so I just arrowed down and looked at the different things there, just to make sure I had the information that I wanted, not so much everything that it was telling me at that point.
We also had a question, which is, does JAWS highlight the word visually as it's reading it? I don't know if you would know that, Peggy.
I don't know if that's a setting, but it doesn't by default. That would be more something along the lines of a product like Zoom, or something that's more meant for screen magnification, or people with reading issues that'll follow along.
Yeah, just in case you didn't hear over Adobe Connect, JAWS doesn't highlight by default, but there are text readers that do, like another one is Kurzweil, Zoom Text. What was the other one you mentioned? Yes, and those are meant for either people with low vision who are magnifying the screen, or people with certain types of reading disabilities who need to hear it, as well as what?
VoiceOver highlights text.
A VoiceOver, which is the Mac screen reader, so it's kind of all in one. And you had a question?
I did. I noticed when a new screen loaded up, it said 100%.
That means that it's ready to go. It's ready, because sometimes I always listen for it to say, and sometimes it's slow in loading, and it'll say 10%, 19%, 28%, and I'm thinking, come on already, let's go. I'm ready to get going on. And I get impatient occasionally, and I start arrowing up and down, and nothing happens because it hasn't loaded.
It won't work until it's loaded?
Well, it doesn't work real well.
Right.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Sorry, and again, to repeat the question, why is JAWS reading 100%? It's because that's the percent loaded. And
I had one more that I noticed. Peggy, when you were navigating Len? Is it up to the same?
What's table len?
Don't remember that? Okay.
I guess because I'm so accustomed
I
to it,
know.
to what it does. Table end, maybe you were hearing. Gosh, I'll have to.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah, it could, or I'll have to think
That's
about
all right.
that one.
Yeah, actually, before we continue on to the wildcard side, one thing I was noticing was how it was pronouncing certain words, like phone numbers were 814 and as the area code instead of 814, and you're apparently a staff assistant by.
My eye. Yeah. Yes, I think you can fiddle around with some of the way it pronounces some things. But actually half the fun of it is sometimes the way it does pronounce something that's maybe just a little bit like names. Sometimes it pronounces somebody's first or last name in a slightly different way than what it really is, and that makes it interesting, because sometimes I've called people how JAWS pronounces something. Whoops, oh, sorry. And of course, a really good example is Du Bois or Dubois, depending on how you write it.
Where we're living. Okay, we're gonna try NBC Learn, so let me do the audio switch thing.
Web Developer Lunch Meeting Vertical Bar Connect Pro Meeting. Alt Menu Bar Meeting Present Layouts Pods Help Camera Share Dash Alt Tab Penn State University Dash Off Alt Menu Bar Menu Favorite M Microsoft M MSN Web M Microsoft M MSN Websites Sub Menu N Leaving Menus Penn State University Dash Office of the University Red NBC NBC Learn Login Dash NB Link Graphic Penn State University Tab NBC Learn Alt +1 Heading Level 1 Tab Search Edit Type Tab Search Alt +4 Button Tab People Visited Tab Depart Tab Penn State Link Tab Home Link Tab News Link Link Help Link Quick Start Link FA Link SAM Link Teaching Link Contact List N Blank Heading Level 1 NBC Learn Login Visit Blank Visited Link Site Blank You can use your blank You may now Visited link log into NBC with your blank. Please note the following information. Blank 1. As a pilot, this service may be subject to service interruptions and other technical blank. 2. Although the NBC Learn staff will carefully monitor supported blank faculty: if you wish to provide access to NBC Learn to your students, you can share the current URL: http://learn.su pilot register blank link teaching and learning with technology, a unit of blank link graphic information to blank list of 2 link copyright left parent link to Pennsylvania State University. NBC search Alt+4 but visit vertical bar link to part vertical bar. Heading level 1 NBC Learn login visited link sign dash in blank you can use it blank you may now visited link login to NBC enter 1%, 7%, 13%, 19%, 100%. Page has no links. 3%, 100%. NBC Learn Higher Ed Grader home page has 5 heading. NBC edit search the archives. Unlabeled 2 button. Edit type in text. Edit. Blank link sign out. NBC black flash graphic flash and blank visited link graphic welcome link settings. Unlabeled 2 button list of 4 link home link course link my play link help list and blank heading level 1 graphic NBC heading level 3 link browse heading level 3 link advanced search unlabeled 1 button unlabeled 4 button wrapping to top edit unlabeled 2 button NB black flash graphic flash and blank visited link graphic well link ver link blank edit blank link sign out blank edit unlabeled 2 button list of 4 link home link courses link my link help list end blank heading level 1 graphic NBC Learn heading level 3 link advanced visited list of 30 link in the news link African link English link psychology link soci link u dot link women links list and blank flash start graphic unlabeled 1 but graphic 300 unlabeled black flash end blank heading level 2 throw open the doors of the NBC News archive NBC blank definition list thousands of historic film from list definition primary 100 list and dialogue up down slider.
Okay, that was a website I'd never seen before. Of course, somebody had asked the question here about why does it say 100% and that kind of, and we saw a very good example of having to wait for it to load. And then all of a sudden I thought, oh boy, I'll get to log in with my own user ID and password maybe, except I could never really find a place to log in. And I was looking and going, quickly arrowing down through all sorts of links and trying to do all that kind of thing. And some of the things just weren't reading very well. And I'm like, okay, where am I?
Oh, okay. That's something we'll have to think about on our side. What happened was NBC is single sign-on, so because we're signed on to Adobe Connect as me, it just, once you click the login link, it just pointed you directly to NBC Learn.
Oh, okay.
So you didn't have to log in again.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, interesting to take a look at it. Like I said, it's something I've never, and that's the kind of, so it just kind of shows what I do if there's a website I've never seen before. Okay, what's here and what do I need to find out and where do I need to go to do this or that? So I was just doing all sorts of navigating around. So.
Do you want to try and play a video now that you know where you are?
Play, oh, all those buttons.
Well, one thing to point out with those links.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Christian is pointing out that the forms aren't well labeled, so yeah, we'll probably do a proper, we'll take Peggy's input and probably do a more systematic test, and we'll be passing this on to NBC Learn as a comment. So they actually have been thinking about accessibility, but it's sort of partially accessible, which sometimes is great for one audience and not so great for an audience. So I'm going to switch back to NBC Learn and...
Title is B. Alt-Tab NBC Learn. Wrapping to top unlabeled 1 button. Graphic 338. Graphic 339. Unlabeled 4 button. Archives on demand video tour. Flash end, blank, heading level 2 throw open the doors of the NBC blank, definition thousands of hosts from the earliest list end, definition list of one item, primary source documents, hundreds of host list end, definition personal playlists. Create your own collect list end, download videos, use them and list end, definition list of one item, dozens of collection, 26 subject areas list end, definition list of one item, premium part from the Washington. List end blank, heading level 2 compare option blank, table with blank, guest, 30-day free trial, sublink sign up, link more in browse, yes, 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 search videos, yes. NBC Learn, blank, flash start, graphic 20, flash end, blank, visited link, graphic NBC welcome, Elizabeth, vertical link settings, vertical link sign out, blank, blank, edit, 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 edit. Virtual, unlabeled 2 but list of full link home, link courses, link my playlists, link help, link my play enter, my playlists link 1%, NBC Learn higher ed greater my playlists 100, NBC Learn higher edit search the archives, heading level 3 loading ... Bullet link ancient world, bullet link ancient old world, bullet link show all, bullet link econ /fin /bsn, bullet link education, bullet link history, enter, history link, bullet link education, NBC Learn, edit search the arc, sort by colon, combo box descending, show me colon, combo results per page, link graphic share, link graphic rise on link delete from playlist, link graphic rise underline of underline fascism underline and underline militarism /133,000. Back web page has expired. More information, more. Tab close, tab left, parent control plus double. Dialog up down slide.
Anyway, that was an interesting adventure. Trying to figure out what kind of a video I was going to look at. And then the topic was like, I don't think so. I think we'll pass on that topic. So anyway, but those once, you know, just kind of exploring around and trying to figure out what's there and how to make it work. And that's a lot of what I do with web pages, quite a lot. So at this point, we're going to transition to Mike Brooks for the next part of the program.
Thank you, Peggy, and I have some recommendations for NBC Learn.